Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I want to talk about how local SEO does take time to see the map change, which will lead to more high quality impressions, phone calls, website clicks, and potential customers. This example is for a client I have. They are a locksmith. They're in Colorado. This is the most difficult industry, I think it is, for local SEO. There's so much spam that's involved with locksmiths. I've come to kind of realize this over the past few months now, just like how spammy this is. So, if you are a locksmith and you're looking to get more leads, or just in general, if you're in a very competitive field, hopefully my tips can actually produce some results for you guys. So, on the left hand side here is April. You can see the map. There are a lot of green dots, but on the right hand side is July. We're almost at 100% page one ranking. I think we're on like a 94% or so for that within a 6 mile radius. This map is very granular, which is why we're getting more phone calls and customers as well. So, some things I've done over the past few months, this is just a way for you guys maybe to rethink your strategy, get some insight into how I think about local SEO, and maybe this might improve your rankings too. So you have to keep an eye on the competition, both local and national brands. So for example, with Locksmith, what I do a lot is every local Falcon scan that I do, I look at the competition, see who's ranking, and then I look at the compare features. So I'll look at categories, secondary categories, area phone calls, service areas versus physical address, updates, reviews, and so much more. But however, I will also use SEM Rush to look up national brands because sometimes we get so laser focused on our competition that we're all kind of going after the same keywords. So what I do is I look at the national brands as well. So I look at, for example, like a company in uh, Texas, I'll look at, or a company in New York, and try to get ideas around what are secondary keywords they're going after for locksmith. And I kind of add that to my strategy. So I have my primary keyword, which I'm working on, but I'm always expanding that. Next is running multiple local Falcon scans to get the baseline. So it's really important to run local Falcon scans, get the baseline of the share of local voice, because that's what you need to improve. So when I did the initial scan and I saw that they were losing rank each time I was doing the scan, I knew that that was an important keyword for us to really focus on to then flip the map, which is what we did. Again, from local Falcon, I drilled into neighborhoods as opportunities to flip. So I actually had a conversation with a client of mine earlier today, and they said, "Can we expand the map radius?" The thing is, we can, but you have to understand that every time you expand the radius, let's say from 6 miles to 15 or 20 miles, each dot now is longer distance between each other. So you might go from a half mile between each dot now to about 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 miles. When you get too far in between dots, you're going to miss out all the neighborhoods and towns nearby, and that ultimately actually will decrease your visibility because you're so focused on how do I expand my reach that it's gonna be like unachievable in places that are, let's say, 15 miles away, and now you're overlooking all the areas that are 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 miles away. So I drill down to all the neighborhoods, and those are opportunities to flip. Next, I expand the question and answer content directly in Google Business Profile. So if you have Q&As on your website, or FAQs, I also add that to your Google My Business Profile. Next, I'm always asking for photos and updates from my clients if they're doing a particular project around of like a locksmith type of service that they did. They give me the photos, I add them to their Google Business Profile, and then I sync that actually into Apple and Bing Maps. Next, I expand their services with a description for each. So a lot of times I'll onboard clients and they just have, for example, they might say, I do like motorcycle key replacement, but there's no description of what that is. So I really drill down into that, and I explain in the one or two sentences what they do. Next, I add their products to their listing. So again, for the locksmith, it's really making like a visual of all the different locksmith services that they do. I'm not sure how big of a ranking signal that is, but I do think it helps with dwell time. Next, I expand their website to cover more topics. So these are things like, again, the motorcycle example. When I talk to my client, if they say like, "Hey, like I did like a motorcycle project, but if we don't list it off on the website, that's an area of opportunity for me to add and to kind of expand that as a new keyword." Next, expand their next is use SEM Rush and ClearScope to help with the writing of the content. So if we're going to create a new landing page, I use those two tools, and of course, there's so much more than just this. Now let's talk about results, because we already kind of teased this early. They're at, if you round up, a 93% share of local voice. So I've redacted the keyword, but this is their blue line. So they started off back in December, but I was noticing that this trend, every single time I was running the scan for them, this keyword was dropping every single month. And it's because competition was really fierce for this keyword. So I had to look at the competition. I had to change their Google Business Profile strategy. I had to sync that into Bing, into Apple, and I had to make website changes too. It took many months for us to kind of stabilize that and then start to grow. In April, we had a little bit of growth. And now, basically, at the end of April, all the way into July, we are at our highest share of local voice This is how it looks against the competition. So again, 11 by 11 grid in a 6 mile radius. My client is the blue line. And you can see that we are outranking out all the top competitors. So back in December, it was a lot closer. Then the yellow line was increasing their share of local voice, but then we took share away from them. Now we are the best. We are, again, at the very top, about a 93% share of local voice for this one keyword. And here's the map of how it looks. So this is Google Map results. So when you ever Google something like HVAC near me, plumbers near me, locksmith near me, etc., Google displays 3 organic map pack listings on page 1. So each of these dots here represent how we rank. As long as we're dots 1, 2, and 3, that's what's going to lead to the most impressions, phone calls, website clicks, and potential leads for my client. So the map here is really strong for them. What I also like too is that we're ranking in really high populated cities like Denver, Aurora. These are, a lot of people live in these areas. This map here is very granular, and I'm able to get insight exactly of how they're ranking for this one particular keyword, and it's driving more and more leads for their business. But really, in summary, the main takeaway here is that you can't just do like one update in 1 month and say, well, my local Falcon scans didn't improve, or maybe you hired a company and after 1 or 2 months, it's like, oh, I'm not seeing this return on investment. Just like paid search, there's a cost that goes into local SEO, and part of the cost, unfortunately, is time. So the time it took, so I'll go back down to this part of the map over here. You can see that for many months, this keyword was actually dropping. We're getting less phone calls. And then after a few months of that drop, we stabilized it. And now we're actually at our highest peak ever. So the biggest thing is that competition is always changing their strategy. I mentioned there's so much spam in this particular industry, but you have to keep an eye on the competition. You have to keep making changes to your profile. You have to get listed on high quality directories. You have to, update your Google business profile, your website, sync that all into Bing and Google, and to keep monitoring it and then expand it into new keywords, as I was mentioning before. So keep your rankings and expand to new areas. That's how you get the most leads for your business. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, have a good